another episode. I am joined by the most amazing Rose Oates, who I had the pleasure of meeting in the flesh last month. And I'm so happy to have you here. So thank you so much for being here, Rose, and welcome.
Oh, hey guys. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
So excited. We were both just saying off air, we always I think we both would come across as very confident, sort of outgoing people. And there's still nerves. Like when I hit record, both of us were saying there's still always nerves. And it's really cool that we've already had that conversation where you're saying, yeah, I'm nervous to be here, but we're doing it anyway.
Yeah. I think, like we were saying, it's scary in a good way. I'm nervous because I care.
Yeah.
And every time I really care about something, I get nervous.
Yeah, same.
And a part of my anxiety that hangs around, that's there. But I actually think that like a superpower.
Yeah.
Because it gives me the indication that it means something to me and I want to do a good job and I'm excited to be doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, I love that. I just loved the way that you framed that before we hit record. When you're nervous, it means you care. And I just wanted to point that out to listeners. Like, we still get nervous sometimes too. And it's because we care so much about this message. And I know that you're so big on your message. Before we do dive into that and all of the amazingness that you add to the world, can you please tell listeners something you love about yourself?
Oh, I love my sense of humor. It's cheeky, it's quite dirty at times. It's got me through a lot of hard moments in my life, being able to laugh. So that is something I actually truly love.
Yeah, I love that about you too. And I love your stories that crack me up, especially when it's inappropriate. I love it. What is something
appropriate?
I know. It's like you say what everybody's too scared to say. Like you say what everyone's thinking and then normalize it. It's so great. So good. What is something you do for fun?
Something I do for fun? Oh, mate, that's hard these days. That's thrown me a little bit because in the last year, I think my life has been so hectic and it's turned me upside down that I've had to find my fun again.
Yeah.
I've had to actually find out what brought me joy. I think for fun, I do love to exercise. I love catching up with my friends and just being like not dressed up, hanging around the house, having something to drink, eating some cheese, and just letting off some steam. So that's been something that has brought me a lot of joy this year. But like I said, when you did throw me with the question, because fun has meant something different to me if you asked me a year ago.
Yeah. And that makes so much sense too. Like, because, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, in terms of the word like superwoman, I can't think of anyone that kind of articulates or sort of represents that word. To have 4 children, a business, your online, the stuff that you're doing online and you're speaking at events. And I can only imagine, I don't have children and I find it hard sometimes to fit everything in and to juggle all of the balls and to, schedule in my fun. And you're doing this with a family and a business and all of this amazing stuff. So like hats off to you for doing that and for finding the time to reconnect with yourself. It's really amazing.
Oh, thank you. Well, I was taken back, mate. Like, thank you. I don't know what to say. What the hell? Yeah, it is. It's been a lot, but I think if there's no shame in having to step back and going, oh man, I don't know who I am for a second here. Like after I had Esme was probably the hardest postpartum period I've ever had. And that's what I meant in the last year has thrown me the most, to re-find yourself and how does work fit in and how do kids fit in and how do I still have time for my partner and, spread yourself. I was talking about this with Craig in the car before I jumped on, and I was sort of saying, you can have it all, but you have to have a realistic timeline, should I say. Yeah. So you really can have it all. You can have the family, you can have the holidays, you can have the fun, the friends, the business, but you have to be okay with it taking more time or being patient with some things as they evolve. So, and being patient with yourself, which is something that, a hard lesson I've had to learn, because I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like waiting. I wanted it yesterday and I want it to be perfect now.
Yeah.
So, it's just taking your time and letting things evolve as they should, and you will find how to do it. It will happen. It's like people saying, I don't know how you can function off 4 hours sleep. When it comes to it, when it comes to the day that you might have to, you will do it. I promise you. I promise everybody out there, they will do it. It just, you make it happen. You adapt.
Yeah.
But
it's crazy too. And I love how honest you are, because, you know, it would be so easy for somebody on the outside looking in to go, Rosa's got it all sorted. Like, you know, you rock up and you're always smiling and you're always happy and you've got, you know, this beautiful, gorgeous family and, you know, your Instagram looks gorgeous and real. It would be so easy for someone on the outside looking in going, well, nah, she's happy and she's got all her shit together all the time. So I love that you show up honestly. And that's been your message from the get-go. Like, the first time I discovered your page, I was like, breath of fresh air. And I love it so much. So for those people who maybe haven't seen your Instagram or followed your journey, can you just give the listeners a little bit of a background to your journey and what sort of brought you to this place that you are now?
I started like the Instagram journey about 5 years ago, when it was still kind of okay to pop up a photo of your cup of coffee and go, having a great morning, and everyone would love the photo. I'm a visual person, so Facebook didn't cut it for me, and I don't like the noise of it. So I found Instagram was just refreshing.
Yeah. And
it wasn't till 2 years ago or 2.5 years ago, I started working online for a company, and, you know, saw the opportunities and things like that. But I was also pregnant with Octavia. So I had come like 2 miscarriages to get to her, a big backstory, donating eggs, the whole situation coming to her to get to Octavia. And so I started documenting a little bit of it. I think more for me, cathartic. I jumped on. This was the difference, is I didn't care who was listening for some reason. Off the bat, stories weren't really a thing, but I decided that I liked to speak. So I just jumped on from there every now and then. And I built relationships through there and then started sharing through posts. And I really love to write. So writing's where I find it's soothing for me, it's healing, and it's a way that I find that I can express myself quite raw, so to speak. And the more that I did that, at first it was just fun posts, but the more I went deeper, I realized that I could actually help someone not feel alone. And that was huge for me, because I've been through a lot in my life where I have felt like maybe it's not that you don't know that someone else is going through that, or you know that somebody else has had these experiences. It's more that I felt it wasn't spoken about. It wasn't something just brought up. Oh, hey, we're having a coffee. Guess what? You know, or it was like a safe space. If that you felt like responding, or you felt like having this conversation, you really could. And that's where the journey started. And you realize like you really can touch another person's life, even if it's just one person in your lifetime that you truly help. In my mind, that's everything. That's another life. We look at, it's not insignificant. It is a person's life. And if I left Instagram tomorrow and knew that I could count on my hand that I'd helped someone in some way, that was enough. So my journey, I've shared a lot. I love a taboo topic, because I don't believe human experiences should be taboo. Yeah. Because as much as we're uniquely us in our soul, in who we are, our bodies function the same way. We all bleed. We are all the same, you know. So when we talk, like I talk about motherhood, struggles, career, business, trauma, sexual assault, egg donation I've gone into, lots of different topics that I think sometimes people want to know more, or people have experienced these things, but it's still not safe. I think the topic around women as a whole has so far to go. And I'm raising 4 daughters.
Yeah.
I came from a family full of mates. So here I am raising my own daughters and sort of learning along the way. And I'm trying to sort of think, how could I have learned things during my youth, during my childhood better? What did I need to hear? You know, periods, sex, safe sex, good relationships, like what did I need to hear as a young person even? So hopefully that gives you a bit of a background.
Oh, there's so much there. And like, truly, I do believe, like, I always think, obviously I've got such a passion for like young girls because I had a background in the education system, and I could just see, like you were saying, we're teaching people to play the flute, but not how to, you know, deal with their emotions or love their body or anything like that. And I always think, like, I want to create a world where I'd be happy to have a daughter, and you are the embodiment of that. Like, you are doing that because you've got 4 daughters, and I'm so grateful for people like you. And something that I love watching is your journey of loving your body and owning your body. And that is something that I see so many young, or actually all age groups of women struggle with. So what has sort of been your journey there? Because obviously your background was you were a PT and you were in fitness, and then you've had 4 beautiful daughters and you've got a body that created life. Like it's just amazing. And I love the stigma that you are breaking when it comes to, you know, how your body should look. So what has been your journey there?
Well, that's a tough one. So my journey with my body image is a long one. So it started early. I can remember back probably 12, 13, mainly as I entered that high school phase, was that tipping point of feeling that disjointedness and looking at my body almost like an Adam and Eve moment when they realized they were naked, if that's like a good way to put it. They're like, oh, nudity. Ooh, this is wrong. That was a moment that I was like, looked at my body and I went, oh, I don't look perfect. I don't look like the magazines. I don't look like all the other teenagers or whatever it is. I could feel that moment. I really felt the shift going into high school. I have quite a dark past in terms of like abuse in there. And also during high school, I was sexually assaulted. So that again really took its toll out on my body. So I took some of that pain and inflicted it back onto my body image. So along with magazines and the social expectations, because I was, when was I in high school? So around that 2000, early 2000s, that was a long time ago. That was, you know, we were still looking at Dolly. We were still looking at all those glossy, highly airbrushed, curated magazines as our guides. The ads were not even like, at the moment, I feel like we're starting to get some control over what we see in the media. The media are becoming more accountable to a point, but back then it was not. We were, as women and as teens, we were targeted from the diet industry, from the fitness industry, from the clothing industry. So that's where like that journey started, and it was extremely hard. So I was always really good at sport. I loved playing basketball. I played from young. I went down the personal training route. I wanted to go to the Olympics, so I felt like that would, work out really well together. And when I started work, I realized how many men and women and young teens hated their body. And I mean, everyone. The size 8 fitness looking model that you would think, oh, she's got it she's rocking her body, she's loving it, hated her body.
Mm.
The 50-year-old man I personal trained hated his body. The mums would bring do little group classes of teens that would come privately, hated their body. The mum that brought the teens was PTing with me, hated her body, hated something. It was just a wake-up call to me.
Yeah.
But almost sparked. So I became the motivator. I loved it. I didn't want anyone to feel like that. I wanted to heal them. I wanted to take that pain away, and I become the motivator of why they shouldn't feel like that.
Mm.
But at that time, I was taking all of, if they're not perfect, I'm their personal trainer. What am I?
Mm.
So the eating disorders came on, and it's little things that you hear along the way, especially in the fitness industry.
Yeah.
But even now, it's not gone. The carbs are bad. Oh, you're a personal trainer. I remember someone coming into my boss's workplace and going, oh, does your personal trainer not work out? Talking about me. And then he addressed it with me and said, oh, Rose, you can use the gym anytime. I think I would have been probably a size 8 and 10, and I very lean, very muscular at the time. So where was I to go from there? But in my head, I was determined. That was it. I didn't look the part. So there are things that stick with you, and a lot of disordered eating came from there.
Yeah.
Huge amounts of the way I ate, the control, the calories, the throwing up, the very dark moments there. But to pull out of that, I think it's funny, when I started to heal, I started to listen to myself when I would talk to others, when I would train others, and I'd go, you need to start being the example, embodiment of that example. You don't want them to feel this way. You feel pain that they hate their bodies. Now you need to stop the pain that you've got. And after I had my first daughter, I put on the most weight that I'd ever put on in my life. So I ticked over well over 100 kilos, and I am 5'9". So, I mean, it's not hard. So, and it took me being quite overweight to start to learn to love myself there. As I became fit and I did lose the weight because I felt more comfortable and just, you're not usually that size. So then, you do adapt and you get it back eventually. It was like the best lesson I could have learned.
Yeah.
It taught me a lot. And I was like, I've got a daughter here. And yeah, I wish I could say it ended there. So, but then you're postpartum and it brings along a lot of other issues. So you're like, I'd never seen a postpartum body before.
Yeah.
I didn't know that you still had a belly after you gave birth. I'd never seen anybody online or in the magazines. I'd just seen a beautiful, gorgeous celeb with their kid hours after birth, looking intensely beautiful, makeup, like they'd had a personal trainer, like they're saying this is a week after. And I was like, why don't I look like that?
Yeah.
So I think that journey, as much as it's like long-winded, the backstory is there. I feel like it's important to say that it doesn't happen overnight. This is years of hatred, and then I had to learn years of unlearning.
And you do it so, it is unlearning, and it's so hard to escape when you live in this world that everywhere you look, it's, filters and billboards and perfection, and it has changed. And I think it's made improvements for sure. But it takes people like you doing what you're doing to normalize normal.
Yeah. I mean, you do that really well as well. Like, it's just, you do. We need to see more normal, but almost some people, it's almost like normal isn't what people really want to see sometimes. You need to be ready to accept what normal is. So it feels good to put a filter on sometimes.
Yeah.
I just don't want to criticize myself today, so I'm going to chuck a filter on. But what that does is it keeps creating this warped perception of how you should look.
Yeah.
instead of how you do look, and that pores are normal.
Yeah.
And that,
Crazy.
everything it's normal. But it was funny, my daughter, my eldest daughter, woke me up the other day. She is 13 and she has like a little bit of back acne.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, Indy, got my, normalize everything, mum voicing. Indy, it's normal. Everyone gets pimples. Some people get it when they're young. It's completely normal. Nobody's looking at it. She yelled at me and goes, I know it's normal, Mum, but I don't like it. And I went,
Oh.
That gave me another little, that's true.
Yeah.
I needed that, because weight gain or loss for some people, because some people struggle with gain, for that matter, it is normal.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that we like it.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean we feel good when our skin breaks out. It doesn't mean we feel good when we're 20 kilos overweight from what we normally were. It doesn't necessarily, a lot of people do know it's normal.
Yeah.
But sometimes we don't like it still because it's not accepted. It's society that hasn't accepted this normality. We haven't learnt enough about it. So I was like, wow, that is really powerful.
Yeah.
In that sense, because it made me change the way I worded things, even in the way that I'm talking now. We don't have to like it all the time, but we can accept it.
Yeah. And
we can learn not to hate it. We can go, you know what? I don't love that I am 3 dress sizes bigger than I used to be.
Yeah.
But I don't hate me. I'm okay where I am right now. I'm still amazing. I just am not comfortable here right now, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's so powerful. I love that. What a profound moment.
It was.
Yeah, really amazing. Do you have, because I've got clients and it's like, yeah, I know, we all know that we're learning to love ourselves, but there's still bad days, right? Like people have bad days because we're human. What do you sort of do on your bad days, on those days where you're like, I am struggling with the self-love today?
Oh, shit, mate, I still really struggle. Sometimes when you've got some really bad inner demons, as I think we all do, it doesn't matter what we've been through individually.
Yeah.
Just on those days, I think I've started just to accept that, there's some days I'm just like, I am the victim. I'm the victim. I want to be sad.
Yeah.
I want to be sad. I want to. And it's funny because what's wrong with being sad?
Yeah.
Sometimes we beat ourselves up for playing the victim, and and we're beating ourselves up for as like, oh, I'm so sad today. I should get over this. I shouldn't feel like I'm sad because of my body. I know there's bigger fish to fry. I know there's worse things out there. I know I'm having a bad day, but I think owning it, just sometimes I've learned to accept that it's okay to be sad. And sometimes instead of holding it in now, I might just have a cry.
Yeah.
And I might just I still will say those awful things to myself. I'm not going to lie. That's not what I'm about. I'll still look in the mirror and go, oh my God, Rose, you are 12 months post-baby and you still look like this. I've done that.
Yeah.
I'm like, ew, David.
Ew, David.
David. And I let it come out, and then what my biggest thing was reinforcing it with a positive. So starting small and go, yep, you don't look like, you don't look like how you would have liked to look 12 months, but you have done so amazing so far. I reinforce with a positive. So I think, I've said once before, I originally had to start with something small. So every time I would abuse myself in the mirror, and it was a lot, there wasn't a day that I could look in the mirror and just go, okay. I would actually avoid it at all costs.
Wow.
Because if I did it, it would start a cycle of the entire day being completely battered by my own brain about my body. So
Mm.
so I started with my ears. I know, it's just the weirdest thing. It was actually the only thing that I found not repulsive at the time. And it was silly. It sounds silly to people, but it was the first thing I went, you know what? I've got really cute ears. And I left it at that. I walked away from the mirror and I went, yep, you've abused yourself now, but you've got cute ears. And then next time I found myself, even if I was sitting at my desk, I'd be like, oh, you know, beating myself up. Oh, your time management's poor, Rose. What the hell? And then I go, you know what though? But you put in so much effort into like, you know, doing your very best in things. So always reinforcing with the positive. So when I overcome those bad days, I think it's more about, it's okay. Be sad, Rose. You can have a cry, but make sure you still give yourself a little dose of something positive, even if it's just the smallest thing. And it's less wallowing anymore. It used to be like days on end of abuse and self-hatred. And now it's pulling, you can pull out a lot faster. It's just practice. Practice doesn't make perfect, it makes permanent.
Yes.
So if you are constantly practicing to hate yourself with no positive reinforcement, you'll do it perfectly because you've made it a habit. So it's practice makes permanent. So whatever you're constantly doing will stick. So just practice that little bit of self-love, as cheesy as it sounds.
Yeah.
You know, just to reinforce. Like,
I love that. I love that. I've not heard it put like that. Practice makes permanent. And it is like our thought habits are habits. And most of those habits are things that we've learnt. We've learnt our thought behaviors from outsiders as well. So it really does take practice to slowly rewire the mind. I love that you've said that. That's amazing.
And yeah, practice makes permanent. It's huge. And it really, I've never forgot it. I don't even know who told me many years ago. I just.
So true. And it's completely changed your life. If you've gone from, you know, that person who couldn't look in the mirror to the person who openly and honestly shares your life, your body, everything online for other women. I honestly want to say thank you. I don't even have kids yet, and I'm always watching your stuff thinking, thank the Lord that people like you exist. Because for somebody who hasn't had children, you are starting to go, okay, I need to really figure out this body stuff because my body's going to change. And like, you know, I'm already starting to get my mind right, because if I have a daughter, I won't allow myself to talk badly in front of her, you know.
Even having a son, it's teaching him that those bodies are normal, and that's what a mum can look like. I think it's just as important for the boys, having come from like such a male dominated family. And I also think that, you know, you always have a really powerful message, especially for all, like for women, but especially young people. So I love listening to you. I love your podcast. So I'm stoked to be on one. But like having the girls, I suppose it definitely wakes you up. And you just don't want them to have the pain that you went through when you were growing up. I don't think any of us want that. And I think I'm finding that a lot of adults, a lot of women in their 30s, like between 25 to 35, 40, are still so wrapped up in bad body image, and it affects every aspect of our life. It really does. Like if you think that your image of yourself does not reflect to business, you are very, very, very mistaken. So it really does. I know that it happened to me. It just was coming out in every sector of my life. It was coming out in my relationship with Craig. It was projecting in my business. It was projecting my confidence in, even though I knew I was good in my job. I had a great career, my corporate career. I mean, it was a great career, but I didn't love it. I was making great money, but I didn't love it. That's enough. But it was coming out there. So the confidence, I knew everything about my job. I was good at my job. But the way that I felt was like hindering the way that I was coming across in the workplace.
Yeah, it does. It really does. It's the gift that keeps giving. Poor body image impacts everything. And I've spoken to clients, business clients, and they'll say like, you could do a branding shoot. That'll be exciting for your brand, la, la, la. And it's like, oh, nah, I'll have to lose a few kilos, or I don't know. Like everything is, I'll wait until I've lost weight. I'll put my life
Oh,
on hold until I feel good. And I'll put my life on hold for this thing that probably will never arrive, because when I get there, I'll still not like myself. And it's just
oh,
crazy. So
mate, that is powerful in itself. Like that triggers me because for some reason, in myself, something that I've had to overcome is I feel life is short.
mm,
So in a blink of an eye, I'm 37. In a
mm.
blink of an eye, I'm like, excuse me, I'm like 23.
Yeah, happens so quick.
It does. And I hate to be the old person that says that, but I'm like, wow, life is short. So we're waiting to lose weight, and we're waiting to wear the shorts, and we're waiting to wear the bikini, and we're waiting to find the one, to have a to have a child. And because I'm all about like, well, if you really want it and you haven't found the one, go and do it yourself, girlfriend. Like,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's completely different. But well, what if you don't get it tomorrow? We're not guaranteed tomorrow, and we're not guaranteed. We don't know what's in our future.
Mm.
And I listened to this amazing woman speak, and she said, no one can live like the person that's been told they're dying.
Oof.
And she had cancer, and she was told she had 18 months to live. She was 24 years old, and that she would never, and the treatment to possibly save her life would make her infertile. So her when she spoke, that stuck with me. I went, she looked at every year. Oh, that gave me goosebumps. She
Same.
looked at her year and a half that she was told she had to live. And she said the way that people I talked to, the things I did, the relationships I held on to were completely different. Her mindset had changed. She looked at life like, is this important enough to waste one of my 365 days left on earth?
Oh my gosh.
And that's when you said that just then, it reminded me of her. And I went, you know what? We're waiting. We're waiting for this. We're waiting for the perfect time. We're waiting for the perfect body. It might not come. We may never be happy with when we get there. So waiting, it's like putting your life on hold.
Yeah.
And life is short.
So short. That is amazing. I'm going to have to find that speech, because that sounds like something we all need to listen to.
Oh, yeah, it was good.
Yeah, that's amazing.
When something sticks with you, and yeah, that's when you said that. I think, guys, don't wait. Don't wait. Whoever's listening to this, start before you're ready. Start before you're confident. Start loving yourself just that little bit, even if you don't think that self-love and confidence is possible yet. Give it a go, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Start that business venture. What do you got to lose?
Exactly. Really? What have you got to lose? And everything to gain. And since you mentioned before, and it was really interesting that you said like some of that self-talk, that sort of negative self-talk was around like, oh, shit, time management. I've got shit time management. And I was like, what, Rose, like you do? To me, I think you must have amazing time management, because you're just carrying juggling all of the hats and all of the balls, and you're doing all the things. So I mean, from the outside looking in, I just think, wow, how do you do it all? And I'm wondering, to those people that are listening and I know there's a lot of people that are listening, and their mums and their business owners and all of the things, all of the hats. What are your like practices, or how do you manage to sort of fit it all in? Do you have any like routine habits?
Yeah, I would have once said no. And then when I really looked into it, I do. Like, I really am kind of we are all creatures of habit to some degree.
Yeah.
It took, like I said, this last year postpartum was huge. And so it took a lot of understanding on how to find that happy routine to a point, that balance. But how I sort of do it is I try to stick weekday. I think it's easy to say what you got going on.
Yeah.
Even if you do have kids or you don't have kids, you think, okay, I wake up at the same time roughly, I eat roughly the same thing for breakfast, work or school runs, whatever that is.
Yeah.
And then honestly, making those blocks of times and just sticking to it. So for example, I have to spend a little bit of time doing some engagement. I might say, look, I'm going to do 15 minutes in the morning, maybe some random scrolling, let's be honest, during the day. But yeah, I have to have a little bit of a time, constraint. And I would work 24/7 if I had the chance. I love to be busy. I hate having nothing to do personally. So it's actually, for me, it's actually the opposite. I need to take a step back and go, are you busy and productive?
Yeah.
Or are you busy because you're being busy?
Yeah.
Because often we are like, I hear a lot, I'm busy, I'm so busy. Everyone's like, how are you? I'm so busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are all busy, but sometimes we're not productive. So sometimes taking an hour to rest, I still got to learn this a bit. So I'm not practicing what I'm preaching, but I'm trying, is to have the rest, recharge properly, and then you will be productive in that you may be more productive in the next hour than spending 2 hours tired and drained. So during the week roughly looks the same for me. When the kids do go to bed, I might spend, make sure the house is clean because it's just something that I need to do.
Yeah.
And then I'll come in here, do an hour or two's work, some writing, check out what I need to do, follow up on emails. For me, I do every second day. So I'm not on there every hour going, oh, sorry. I'm on there every second day. And if I have to explain myself in an email, I'll just go, hi, how you going? Thank you for, your patience. I might, if I feel the need to explain myself, if I do. If I don't, I won't. Because I'm going to go there and say, if I was a guy, I wouldn't explain myself.
Yeah.
Women over-explain themselves. But yeah, and then on the weekends, Saturday I will still work, but Sunday, if I feel like it, I'll do it. But I really do take one day a week where I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
And even on social media, I'm like, nah. Like I will scroll for maybe some leisure. I'll scroll because there's or I'll pop something up because there's a funny moment legitimately happening.
Yeah.
I'm not a pre-recorded girl, generally. But that's it. So for me, it's and then not beating yourself up. For me, it was a big thing, is not beating myself up if I didn't find this routine straight away. But like I said before, it takes time and it's okay.
Yeah.
You might not have a flow yet because you do have a 2-year-old that's suddenly not sleeping for some unknown reason out of the blue, or you've been working for yourself, you've been working back to back and you're wrecked, and so this week's not as productive, but you've got another week. You can be better next week. So not being hard on yourself. So I think,
good.
But
I can so resonate with what you were saying there. I actually remember a year or two ago, my affirmation that I had to say to myself was, it's productive to rest. Resting is productive. Resting is productive, because sometimes we need to slow down in order to speed up. And when you're go, and you've been in this hustle culture for so long, you find it weird to relax. And it's a bit weird.
Yeah, we are. I love that. Hustle culture it's almost cool to be busy. If you're not hustling, you ain't doing something right. And that is actually, that's not right. I love that. We are in like this, we got to let go of that. There's just so much unlearning. And I think especially as women find that we need purpose. We all need purpose in this life, but I think we do need to be busy. We take that on board, and when we're not busy, we're helping someone, or, being that primary caregiver accidentally. Even if you're single, you can be a primary caregiver. I mean, in a relationship, say, I remember me and Craig, I would still want to do stuff and help him and do housework and, you just find yourself doing it by accident sometimes.
Yeah. So true. I have absolutely loved this conversation so much. And I'm just so honestly so grateful that you do what you do and the message that you share to everyone and to your daughters. You're creating a world that I'm sure your daughters will be happy to be in. So thank you for that. I usually do rapid fire at the end, but I'm actually going to ask you one last question before we wrap up because I think it's so relevant to you and your message. Okay. What is the one thing that you wish you heard as a younger version of yourself?
Oh, geez. As a younger person, I would have heard that it's okay to be exactly who you want to be.
Yes.
It's okay to dream big.
Yeah.
That it's okay to fail on those dreams, that making those mistakes often leads to something beautiful. Like I wish I heard that, Rose, you love entertaining people. You want to be a fashion designer. Apparently, look, love my mum and dad. There's no money in that, or there's no this or whatever that, or, how are you going to end up on TV? It was protection. But I wish I heard to a point from teachers, from caregivers and parents, because it's not just your mum and dad that do it to you.
Yeah.
Is a little bit more like, why not give it a go, Rose? Give it a go. It's okay to be exactly who you are. It's okay to make mistakes, because often the future works out exactly the way it should.
Yeah.
And there's been so much shit that's happened in my life, so many bad things like that still I'm working on.
Yeah.
But I have a beautiful life.
Yeah.
And if I wouldn't have gone through all that, I wouldn't be here today the way I am talking to you today. So you really do grow through what you go through. So
yeah.
Hopefully, just it's okay to be you.
Oh, that's the perfect way to end this, because that was a mic drop moment. And I'm so glad you are being you and the entertainer that you are. And obviously a creative soul. I'm so glad that you've got your creative outlet, because you're adding so much value to everyone's lives. So thank you.
Oh, I do love it. Thank you. I just adore you. Keep doing what you're doing. I can't wait to see you shine.
Thank you.
Brighter than you already do, to be honest.
Keep going. Thank you.
You keep taking it, girl. Take it. I love you. Have a good one.
Oh.